About the very first family? We all know the story of Adam and Eve. We know about their sons, Cain and Abel. We know the tragic tale of one brother's jealousy and the other's demise. The Bible then tells us of a third son, Seth, born to carry on the family line. But what about the daughters? Genesis, the very first book of the Bible, gives us a tantalizing clue. In chapter 5 it says that after Seth was born, Adam lived for another 800 years. And during that time he fathered other sons and daughters. The story mentions them, but it never gives them names. They are silent figures standing in the background of human history. These unnamed women are a profound mystery. They were the first mothers after Eve. They were essential for the continuation of humanity. Without them, the story of our species would have ended almost as soon as it began. So why are they not named? Why are their stories left untold in the most widely read book in the world? This silence has sparked curiosity for thousands of years. It has led scholars, theologians, and storytellers to search for answers in other places. They have looked to ancient texts and long-held traditions, daughters of Eden. It is a quest to complete the picture of our earliest ancestors. The absence of their names in Genesis raises many questions. Was it simply a matter of the customs of the time where genealogies often for reason we are left to wonder? Whatever the cause, their existence is confirmed. They walked the early earth alongside their famous brothers. They experienced the world as it was in its infancy. They knew a life we can only. To find the names of Adam and Eve's daughters, we must turn to other ancient writings. One of the most important of these is the Book of Jubilees. Some call it the Little Genesis because it retells the stories from Genesis and Exodus, but with much more detail. This book is a fascinating piece of history. While it is not part of the standard biblical canon for most Christians and Jews today, it was very influential in ancient times. It was known and read by early Christian communities and is even mentioned in other ancient texts, showing its importance in the ancient world. The oldest surviving copies of this book date back hundreds of years before the time of Christ. The Book of Jubilees presents itself in a unique way. It claims to be a revelation given to Moses by an angel while he was on Mount Sinai. According to the text, the angel dictated the history of the world from creation up to that point. This history was organized into periods of 49 years called Jubilees. This structure is what gives the book its name. It provides specific dates and timelines for events that are only briefly described in Genesis. It fills in many of the gaps, offering names for previously unnamed people and explanations for certain events. For those searching for Adam and Eve's daughters, this book is a treasure trove of information. The book's origins are debated by scholars. Some believe it was written around the 2nd century BCE, while others connect its traditions to much earlier sources. Regardless of its exact date of composition, the Book of Jubilees reflects a deep tradition of Jewish thought and storytelling. It was an attempt to preserve history, clarify laws, and answer the very questions that readers of Genesis might have. It sought to provide a more complete and orderly account of the world's beginnings. It is in this detailed account that we finally find names for the daughters who were so crucial to the survival of the human family. The authority of the Book of Jubilees has varied throughout history. For the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, it is considered part of their biblical canon. For most other denominations, it is part of what is known as the Apocrypha, writings of historical and spiritual value, but not considered divinely inspired scripture. However, for our quest, its status is less important than the information it contains. It represents one of the oldest surviving traditions that gives names and life stories to the daughters of Adam and Eve. It is a window into how ancient people understood their own origins, and it provides the first major clues in our search. According to the Book of Jubilees and other ancient Semitic traditions, the very first daughter born to Adam and Eve was named Avan. Her name itself is interesting. In the ancient Phoenician Hebrew language, the name Avan could mean potency, or, in a different context, vice. The meaning is not entirely clear, but her role in history is monumental. She was the first human female born into the world, the first to experience life outside the unique circumstances of the Garden of Eden. Imagine her world, a vast, empty planet populated only by her. Every mountain, river, and forest was a new, unexplored frontier. Avan's story is tied directly to the story of her older brother, Cain. In a world with so few people, the question of who the first children of Adam and Eve married is a common one. The ancient texts provide a direct answer. These traditions tell us that Avon became the wife of her brother Cain. This might seem strange to us today, but in the context of the story, there were no other options. For humanity to continue, the first brothers had to marry their sisters. This was a necessity in a world that was just beginning, a world with a single family at its root. As the first daughter, Avon's life would have been one of immense significance. She was not just a sister and a wife, she was a co-founder of the human race. She, along with her mother Eve, would have been responsible for developing the skills needed for survival. They'd have learned about plants, food preparation, and raising children in a wild and untamed world. Her experiences would have formed the basis of knowledge passed down through generations. While her brothers Cain and Abel learned to till the soil and tend the flocks, Avon was pioneering the very life outside of paradise. The traditions that name her, like the Book of Jubilees, give her a place of honor. They recognize that the story of humanity is incomplete without her. By giving her a name, they pull her out of the shadows of Genesis and place her at the center of the narrative.